When I thought it over and over again, to recollect even half of what we have done together is almost impossible. And even if it was possible, I don't think I can finish it in one day. Prior to the second Naga ceasefire in 1997, the partnership and the relationship between NPMHR as a human rights group, which is just a handful of students at the time, and the NSF as the highest, not only student body, but as the voice of the Nagas at that time, where there was no Naga mothers, there was no Naga Hoho, there was hardly any tribal organizations worth the name. It was, I think, to recollect all those things, I think it will be impossible. But given this opportunity, I just in brief want to say that prior to the 1997 ceasefire, and even in the 1964 ceasefire, and after that, and before that as well, our working relationship was that as a human rights organization, we often organize protests, rallies, meetings, and touring or whatever. But again, as I said, we were just a handful of student leaders at that time. We were all students. We were in colleges when human rights organization was formed. And it will be NSF who will organize the students to participate in any demonstration, meetings, and so on and so forth. In the 80s and 90s, the amount of demonstrations, protest march from Kohima local ground to the governor's house, from Kohima local ground to the chief minister's house, the protests at Raza Point, MLA Junction, and all this were countless. Sometimes we have to protest 2-3 times even in a month. All because our people were getting killed almost every day. Even ministers, bureaucrats were being shot. That was the situation. Indian Army even went to the house of a sitting minister on the Science College Road, went inside the house, dragged out the entire family, and made them stand on the ground. The DGP of Nagaland, the first Director General Police of Nagaland, Mr. Sema, LK Sema, he was detained by the army at Achumbemo Army Camp when he was returning from PEC after inaugurating a police station. That was the kind of situation. There was nobody even to voice a single voice of protest or anger. Nobody even to write a single press release of condemnation. It was NSF and NPMHR that we marched the dirty streets of Kohima every now and then. And that those were just the working relationship. But after ceasefire came in 1997, there was a very big paradigm shift. It's a cue to reach out to the other groups. So 98, NSF and NPMHR, we sought appointment with Burma, with SS Kaplang, who was in the Naga regions under Burma occupation. We waited for appointment for 3 months. We were never given because the message never reached him. Some of their own leaders finally decided to take the risk of escorting us inside Naga areas of Burma in a village where Kaplang could come closest to the border. And that village was Hoyat, which was attacked by drone in July this month, prior to the drone attack next to that this month. So we went and met Kaplang inside Burma, NSF and NPMHR. We said, for the sake of the younger Nagas and future generation, you must keep your personal differences aside. Meet, talk. Even if you cannot merge as one, you must meet and talk for the sake of the future Naga generation. He was very positive. I will meet them in any part of the world. That was his assurance, but practically it could not materialize. But after that, we had assurance. After that, we said, Adino is in London. She cannot be left out. In fact, NNC being the main foundation, PISO group, by any means has to be there. So in 1999, when we got the opportunity to go to Geneva in UN to talk about our situation, we took that opportunity to move further to London to meet Adino and her brother in London. And we say, the present Naga generation is witnessing ceasefire for the first time in our life. And so you must make this work. But there are differences, certain principle differences did not make it possible. But all of them, or both of them, assured that we will not stand in the way if the NSC and IM can bring solution to the Naga people. We may not support them, but we will not stand on the way. So with that, we continued our journey. 2000 in January, last part of January, we said the Naga leadership, political leadership, may be talking to the government of India. But unless the people of India understand our issue, the government of India will not be in a position to take any decision. They will be too weak. So when they will need the support of the Indian people. And so on that basis, in January 2000, we undertook a journey called Journey of Conscience to Delhi, with 66 Nagas representing from NSF, NPMHR, Naga mothers, and the churches. And we went around in Delhi for 3 days, universities and things like that, different part. And we went to Mahatma Gandhi's graveyard. And we said, for 50 years, you have been killing us. But let us forget the past 50 years. There's an opportunity to find peace. So please support your government. Please understand the Naga issue. We're not trying to secede from an Indian Union from which we were a part of. We were never a part of the Indian Union, and today we're not even trying to secede, to go away from India. But you must understand that our history is different. On that basis, when we went and met some of the Gandhians, they came and cried in the ground where we were sitting and meeting, saying that India has been killing you. Who should be coming to Nagaland to apologize? Instead, you have come to Delhi. What a shame. And they cried. And that's how somehow we met the Indian people. We had a procession from Parliament House to Jantar Mantar and had a big rally to share the Naga story. And following that, in 2002, NSF and NPMHR, since those days, the talks were being held outside India, and Thailand was one of the most frequent meeting places. We said we must sensitize the government of Thailand, the people of Thailand, and they should support the Naga issue. But if they don't understand the Naga story, how will they support? So we went to Bangkok with a cultural theme called Naga's Call for Peace. That was our caption. Banners, we printed Naga banners. Mr. Dipapal Kincho was the president at the time. Achumbemo was the speaker. We went and even went to the National Human Rights Office of Bangkok. The mayor of Bangkok hosted us to a lunch after understanding our history. And after that, in 2006, Vicky was there. We went to Bougainville to study the Bougainville peace process. Because it was only in 2005 that Bougainville went into a ceasefire, entered into a peace agreement with Papua New Guinea, and we visited Papua New Guinea first. We had a 3 days interaction with the leaders of Papua New Guinea, the commander-in-chief of Papua New Guinea, and the inter-relation minister, who was number 2, except that the prime minister was not there, came and briefed us how Papua New Guinea is facilitating the Bougainville peace process and how they are trying to understand the Bougainvilleans. So under this peace agreement, Bougainvilleans were given the choice to either remain part of Papua New Guinea or to become a independent country before 2015 to 2020. We toured the land and breadth of Bougainville. That time, the new government, autonomous Bougainville, was formed. And they had only a 33-member parliament. Out of 33, there were 8 ministers. The entire member of parliament, 33 member of parliament, they had one bus to participate in the parliament meetings. The president of Bougainville was having one rover, Land Rover. The chief administrator was having one rover. The entire Bougainville, the capital is Buka, it is disconnected by a big river to other parts of Bougainville. There was no bridge. Entire Bougainville had less than 20 vehicles. Bougainville was not even half of what one Naga tribe was. They became independent in 2015. They made war with bows and arrows. They made petrol out of coconut oil. And so it was called the Coconut Revolution. Nagas were far more, 100 times ahead of Bougainville. Today, Bougainville is an independent country. It has got its membership in the United Nations. Nagas have fractured down. Anyway, following that experience of the Bougainville, after coming back home, we did some follow-up time to time from Bangkok, along with Kreta, who was facilitating these talks. But Kreta also was later disbanded. But the Naga desk was disbanded. But anyway, so from Bougainville, again, they took us to South Africa to study the South African peace and reconciliation process in 2010. Here again, all members of the Naga civil society was there. And I tell you, even in this part of South Nagas were there, East Nagas were there. From Mount to Sun area, they were so there. We're always together. Where they could not be part of NSF because of their petty differences, they had the opportunity to be part of NPMHR. And that's how we have been able to facilitate movement of Naga people together. So it was after coming back to Bougainville, from Bougainville, we decided that NSF, NPMHR, Naga Mothers, and Naga must make, the first thing for us to do was to make friends and relationship, build our relationship with our Eastern Nagas who are having grudges against us. But they won't allow us to come to Mon or to Tumsa. So we said, we want to share some story from Bougainville, how they make revolution out of coconut oil. How they stopped killing, because they said, if we get independence tomorrow, who will live in Bougainville if we kill each other? So we want to share that story. We want to show you movies. So the first thing we did was we brought them to Dibrugarh in Assam. It's as close to our Monsoon Sun areas. We had some kind of a closed-door meeting, hidingly, because even our student and women friends leaders were afraid if the larger public come to know that their leaders were meeting NSF and NPMHR Nagaho in Assam. They don't know what to say. Then later on, we following up again, we called them and we met in Sipsagar. with the, again, with different group of leaders. I mean, but the same ENSF, Eastern Naga Women, those days, the name was a little different. The third time again in 2008, we met in Jorhat. And when we met in Jorhat and they saw my face, because I was General Secretary of Nagaho, they started shouting, banging the table. We didn't come here to meet Nagaho or NSF. We were told that BPC is here, that's why we came. And they refused to meet. But we said, we have come, we have to meet. So they said, okay, but we will not meet in your hotel. So then we said, okay, then you choose your hotel. So they said, we'll meet in Hotel Paradise the next morning. So I said, okay, we said, we went and met in Hotel Paradise. And I said, thank you, my friends. You brought me to the very hotel where I was arrested. And you reminded me of the Marapani War, the 69 days of jail as NSF Action Committee Chairman. 5 of us NSF office bearers were arrested and jailed in Jorhat, in Golagat, tied like animals and paraded in the street of Golagat when the war was happening. So I said, thank you very much for bringing those miseries back. And then we shared our stories. And as we were coming back home to Dimapur, President NSF was in Chatoba those days. Naga Mothers, NSF, Nagaho, I was Nagaho. Naga Mothers President was there. The 4 organizations, when we entered back to Nagaland, and we reached Dimapur, as we entered into Dimapur from Golagat side, there was this peace convention, the first day, 24th and 25th was the peace convention called by Sisaho to bring reconciliation among the Nagas. So we were asked that we must come. So we went straight from Jorhat to participate in that peace convention. When we went there, the preachers were Dr. Wati, Reverend Mikino, Reverend Pukoto, Reverend Nilhazel. Over the prayers, whatever, divine revelation or whatever, vision, they asked us to come to the stage. Nagaho, NSF, NPMHR, and NMA. When we came to the stage, they prayed for us. And they said, you must come together, form a team, and start reconciliation process among the Nagas. So then it was decided that this team will be assisted by the reverends who were speakers of the peace group. At that particular point of time, there was election going on in Nagaland. Elections were just on the doorstep. Voting results. Many people didn't come. There were more than 2,000 chairs in the crusade, but hardly 400, 500 chairs were occupied. And then it was decided that Forum for Naga Reconciliation will be formed. So then on 2008, we started the Forum for Reconciliation, NSF and NPMHR, along with the church and other organizations. We put our everything into the workings of FNR. We went where people were afraid to went. We spoke in meetings where people were afraid to speak. And the Covenant of Reconciliation was signed in 2009. That was the happiest moment Naga people, especially the leaders, could have experienced. Nobody thought Isaac Moiva, Kaplang and Kitovi, and then Sinye and Zopra, they will sign, but all 3 of them they signed. And the Covenant of Reconciliation was agreed. And so, killing stopped. Naga businesses in Kohima and Dimapur, where they closed even before sundown, slowly started coming back to life. Now Dimapur is a booming city like any other city. And in 2012, along the way, it was agreed that all these 3 groups will come in to form one government, one Naga national government. And they will have one budget which will be shared among the 3 organizations according to their needs. When that was decided, we said it's time to stop. If we go beyond this, things will boomerang. It will backfire on our face. Or some of the leaders, they said, please, the mother is pregnant, let a baby be born, and you leave after that. So we stayed on for a couple of years more. 2012, the highest leaders met. But after 2014, as Kitobi mentioned the other night, there was no more activity for some few years. What we insisted as NSF and NPMHR, because I was made to represent NSF and NPMHR, Nagaho and NPMHR, Nagaho and NSF, and NPMHR was Dr. Venu. We said it's time to report back to the Naga people. What we have done, what we have achieved, what is humanly possible has been done. The rest, leave it to God. And so we said we have to disband, give chance to the three political groups to form the Naga national government, one Naga national government, and if they don't form, they will be taken into accountability. Naga public will question them. You have signed, you have agreed. The signature, the photos, everything was circulated in thousands, printed copies. But the success went to the head of some of our leaders. I found no logic in continuing, so I resigned. But instead of dissolving, members were just being brought in. Who elected them, we do not know. But they did not represent any organizations. When FNR was formed, it represented Nagaho, NSF, NMA, NPMHR, and NPCC, including CNBC, and ANSAM, Naga Women Union, and UNC. These were the organizations. Today, none of these organizations are taken into account. They are forming machongs, they are forming council of Naga tribes. And they have produced more than 30 factions. This is the state of affairs, my friends, my brothers and sisters. There's two agreements. They could not even decide which one was right, which one was wrong. Which is good for Naga people, which is not good for Naga people. Which is acceptable and honorable and which is not, that could not be defined. And they kept saying, Nagas must reconcile, Nagas must reunite. Unite. Unless no unity means no solution. Without unity, nothing. Every Naga leader is saying from the top of the voice, unity, unity, unity. But how do you unite when you can't make the difference between the good and the bad? So today, this process, this ceasefire process, which is almost 30 years, may break down, or it may even produce a solution. But at this stage in time of our history, no solution is going to be satisfactory to the Naga public. If we're given freedom, independent tomorrow from framework agreement or agreed position, there will be more killings among Nagas than those factional days. If these agreements fail tomorrow, more killings will also start. Either way, black or white, front or back. That is the situation we are in today, my friends. In the history of the world, if you look at how war has taken place, there is one common phrase which says, war is all men talking and young men dying. Our leaders also, they decide when to fight or when not to fight. But when there's a fight, it's the young people who will go to the battlefield. How many Naga teenagers, women, boys and girls have been killed, raped, tortured, school children butchered into pieces, the body thrown in gunny bags into the jungles for animals to feed on. If war breaks out again tomorrow, as is the situational threat, who is going to die again? You and me. Maybe not me. I'm so elderly person now. But the young people, teenagers, the school dropouts, college dropouts, university students, college students, high school students, you may be forced to take a stand. But we cannot let history keep repeating this in the same style always. If Naga peace process is to break down, we must find a way where this time around it'll be the old man dying and the young man standing behind to keep the future of the Naga people. Thank you so much.